Let me tell you something about horses. A 200-pound thoroughbred can kill a man in 1 second. I've seen it happen 3 times in 40 years working the tracks. The fourth time, it was my partner, and the jury decided I did it. 27 years later, I'm still here, and the horse that killed Jim Reeves, sold at auction 6 months after the trial. Nobody asked the horse any questions. My name's Arthur Wayne Price. I'm 79 years old, been inside these walls since 1998. I was born in Louisville, Kentucky. Grew up about 12 miles from Churchill Downs. First time I sat a horse, I was 4 years old. My daddy put me up on an old quarter horse named Dolly. I don't remember it, but there's a picture. Me up there, grinning, holding the reins like I owned the world. I reckon some men are born knowing what they're supposed to do. I was one of those. 40 years I worked with thoroughbreds. Trained them, raised them, bought them, sold them. And anyone who knows horses, and I mean anyone, will tell you that a spooked stallion in a closed stall is the most dangerous thing on 4 legs. Anyone who knows horses would have understood what happened that morning. But the jury didn't know horses. Jim Reeves and I went into business together in 1987. He had the money. I had the knowledge. That's how partnerships work when they work right. We bought a 60-acre spread outside Lexington, 12 stalls in the main barn, training track, hot walker, everything a man needs to make winners. And we made winners, boy. I can tell you that. We had a colt in '94 ran 136 flat at a mile. That's championship time. Had a filly in '96, came in second at the Bluegrass Stakes. Those were good years, hard years, but good. Jim handled the books. He liked numbers. I handled the horses. Each man to what he knows. We had a good arrangement. Now, was it perfect? No partnership is perfect. We argued. Mostly about which horses to keep, which to sell. He was more aggressive than me on the business side. I was more attached than I should have been to some of those animals. That's a trainer's weakness. I loved those horses more than I loved most people. That's not something most folks understand. But anyone who's worked with animals their whole life, they know. Jim and I, we had our disagreements. Everybody did. But we'd been partners for 11 years by the time it happened. 11 years without a real fight. That morning, April 14th, 1998, I was in the office, had the ledger open. Stack of vet bills needed sorting. Coffee was cold. I remember the coffee was cold. I remember everything about that morning. I've told this story to 4 lawyers, 3 investigators, 2 parole boards, and 1 reporter from the Louisville Courier-Journal. The story never changes. You know why? Because the truth doesn't change. We had a colt that spring, 3-year-old, dark bay, name was Midnight Caller. Bought him from a breeder in Ocala for $42,000. Beautiful animal, but skittish. I mean skittish. Scared of his own shadow sometimes. Scared of wind. Scared of a plastic bag blowing across the yard. I told Jim, I said, Jim, this one needs more time. This one ain't ready for the training track yet. He needs gentling, handwork, patience. Jim wanted to push him. There was a race in June. He figured we could have the colt ready. We argued about it. Not a fight, a disagreement. Professional. Jim said, Arthur, I trust your judgment on this one. And he did. He always did on the horses. So that morning, April 14th, Jim went into the barn before me. He liked to do his walkthrough early, check the stalls, say good morning to each animal. He had that habit. I was in the office, like I said, cold coffee, vet bills. I heard the sound at 6:47 in the morning. I'll never forget that time. 6:47, like a thunderclap inside the barn, a crash, a shout, then silence. I ran. I ran faster than a 51-year-old man should run, into the barn, down the row, stall number 7. Midnight Caller was at the back of the stall, nostrils flaring, eyes wild, front hooves stamping, and Jim was on the ground, head turned the wrong way, blood in the straw. I've seen dead men before, in Vietnam, and on the tracks. You know it the moment you see it. There's no question. I called 911 from the barn phone, told them what happened, told them exactly what I saw. The police came, the ambulance came, the insurance investigator came the next day. $750,000 in partnership life insurance. I believe it was around $750,000. I'd have to check the exact figure. Jim had taken the policy out 2 years before. Standard partnership protection. I had one on him. He had one on me. That policy is what got me convicted. Not the coroner, not the evidence. The policy. In America, if you had a reason, you did it. That's how a jury thinks. People ask me, what actually killed Jim? The horse kicked him in the... Well, that's what the report says. That's what the final report says. The horse kicked him in the temple, right side, single blow. That's what the report says, and that's what happened. The trial lasted 6 weeks. I had a good lawyer, best I could afford. The prosecution had one witness who said I'd been acting strange the week before. A groom who'd been fired 3 months earlier for stealing feed. They had no weapon. They had no confession. They had a life insurance policy and a grudge witness. And a jury of 12 people who'd never set foot inside a working stable in their lives. They deliberated for 4 hours. 4 hours. You know how long it takes a jury to understand 40 years of equine behavior? Longer than 4 hours, I can promise you that. I lost the farm, lost the horses, lost my daughter. She stopped writing after year 8. I don't blame her. A grown woman with her own life doesn't need a father who's convicted of murder. I understand that. My wife died in 2009, pancreatic cancer. I wasn't there. They let me go to the funeral in handcuffs, ankle chains, 2 guards. I stood in the back of the church and I watched them put her in the ground. I think about her every day. The partnership with Jim is a harder thing to carry. 11 years of work together, and it ended in a stall I'd walked through 1,000 times, a stall I helped build. I still have dreams about that morning, the sound, the run, walking into stall 7. But I don't have nightmares about Jim. That's the strange thing. I don't. I've never had a nightmare about him, just about the morning, the sound, the empty barn before I went in. I'm 79 years old. I've got maybe 5 good years left, maybe less. The doctors in here aren't the kind you brag about. I don't expect to die a free man. I've made peace with that. I made peace with it around year 15, I'd say. You can only fight the same fight so long before you start to understand that the fight itself is the punishment. People ask me, Arthur, if you could go back to that morning, what would you do different? I'd check the stall the night before. That's what I'd do. I'd check every latch, every bolt, every board in that fence. Because maybe, midnight caller got spooked by something I missed. A loose nail, a shadow, a sound. Maybe Jim would still be alive. I'll tell you what I know about horses. They're not evil. They're not calculating. They don't plan things out. But they're unpredictable. Beautiful creatures, beautiful, but unpredictable. You never know when one might just snap.